Hello students, the theme of our lesson is crime and punishment.
So, okay, I'd like to start with a slide presentation. Please look at the screen. What will be the topic of our lesson today? Yes, we will work on crime and punishment topic today. So what is crime and what is punishment? For full comprehension, you can go to the links in here, by the way. So crime is actually an offense that merits community condemnation and punishment, usually by way of fine or imprisonment. This is different from a civil wrong, a tort, which is an action against an individual that requires compensation or restitution. Criminal offenses are normally prosecuted by the state or the Commonwealth, whereas it is usually up to an individual to take a civil action to court. It is also possible for an individual to begin criminal proceedings, but this is very rare. Some matters, such as assault, can be both crimes and civil wrongs at the time, so the police can prosecute for assault and the victim can take civil action to recover money or some other counter compensation for any injury suffered. It is not always easy to tell when something is a crime. A person who takes money without permission commits a criminal offense, whereas a person who fails to pay back money commits a civil wrong, not a crime. Although a civil action can be commenced to recover the money, the borrower can only be prosecuted for a criminal offense if fraud is involved. Whether or not the police decide to charge a wrongdoer with a criminal offense is entirely their decision. A victim of crime cannot force the police to prosecute an offender, but it is possible, although not that common, to make a private prosecution. It is advisable to get legal advice if you are considering this. There are a range of sources of law which establish the existence of crimes. And punishments commonly is the imposition of an undesirable or unpleasant outcome upon a group or individual, meted out by an authority. It consists ranging from child discipline to criminal law as a response and deterrent to particular action or behavior that is deemed undesirable or unacceptable. It is, however, possible to distinguish between various different understandings of what punishment is. The reasoning for punishment may be to condition a child to avoid self-endangerment, to impose social conformity, in particular in a context of compulsory education or military discipline, to defend norms, to protect against future harms, in particular those forms of violent crime, and to maintain the law in respect for a rule of law under which the social group is governed. Punishment may be self-inflicted, as with self-flagellation and mortification of the flesh in a religious setting, but is most often a form of social coercion. So we have already done with the definitions, and now please pay your attention to the following questions and try to answer them. The questions are: what crime and punishment types you know? What are the most common crimes in your country? What are the reasons to commit a crime? What could be done to prevent a crime? In fact, when it comes to the types of crime and punishments, we could name retribution. This is one of the first forms of punishment, essentially the idea of an eye for an eye. Those who favor retribution believe it gives the victims of crime or society as a whole a sense of satisfaction knowing a criminal received the appropriate level of punishment for the crime committed. Lawmakers face the task of determining these appropriate levels of punishment, which can range from spreading ticket-fine amounts of mandatory sentences for certain crimes. Then another type is deterrence, which aims to prevent future crime and can focus on specific and general deterrence. Specific deterrence deals with making an individual less likely to commit a future crime because of fear of getting a similar or worse punishment. General deterrence refers to the impact on members of the public who become less likely to commit a crime after learning of the punishment another person experienced. And also rehabilitation, which seeks to prevent future crimes by altering a criminal's behavior. This typically includes offering a host of programs while in prison, including educational and vocational programs, treatment center placement, and mental health counseling. This approach also typically gives judges the flexibility to mix in rehabilitation programs as part of a criminal sentencing. The goal is to lower the rate of recidivism, or people committing another crime after getting released from prison. In Kazakhstan, frankly speaking, the most common type of crime registered in 2020 was theft, occupying nearly 37% of the total number of offenses recorded by national law enforcement authorities. Over 16% of crimes were classified as fraud. When it comes to the cause of committing a crime, well, they are complex. Poverty, parental neglect, low self-esteem, alcohol, and drug abuse can be connected to why people break the law. Some are at greater risk of becoming offenders because of the circumstances into which they are born. And in order to prevent from crime, you can make your home look occupied, leave some lights and radio on when you're out, lock your doors, never leave your house open for just a moment, always lock your doors when you're out, use deadbolt locks. A deadbolt lock is a good deterrent to burglars. Now, I'm going to give you cards that you should match and find a definition of the terminology. Please, you have a total of 3 minutes to complete these tasks. So we have the words like kidnapping, armed robbery, assault, attempted murder, burglary, child abuse, drunk driving, hijacking, murder, shoplifting, terrorism, theft, vandalism, white-collar crime. So the definitions could be taking a person to a secret location using force, using a weapon to steal, hurting another person physically, trying to kill someone but failing, going into another person's home or business with force, injuring a child on purpose, driving after having too much alcohol, holding people in transit hostage, usually on a plane, taking someone's life through violence, stealing from a store, acts of crime against a political or religious group, stealing, damaging public or private property, and breaking the law in business. Now, let's play a game. The name of the game is Jeopardy. You have to choose slots and numbers to collect a point. Let me show you an example. You choose a slot, for example, you choose crime for 400, and answer please for the slot question. So after this game, we have a sentence with a gap. Let me read the sentence for you. Yesterday, I saw a gap who was damaging a bus stop while I was waiting my bus. We can say, for example, yesterday, I saw a hooligan who was damaging a bus stop while I was waiting my bus. Here I have another task for you. According to the example given here, do the same thing with the word below. You need to make a chain consisting of the crime name, definition, criminal, verb, and example. For example, it's written on a screen, murder, killing someone, murder, and murder. I don't think that he's a murderer. It is your turn to make a chain out of the word theft. If you are ready, I can announce the answer. Theft, stealing something, thief, thief. Last year, I witnessed a theft on a street that I live in. So the next word given to you for exercising is burglary. If you are ready, I can show you the answer. Burglary, housebreaking, burglar, to burglar. This week, there were numerous burglaries in the city. Now, again, we have a sentence with a gap in it. Please think about it and complete it. It is written here, this song reminds me of my dad while he gap. Right now, you can see a picture of a certain type of crime. Try to guess what it is. And yes, it is murder. Now, as home task, you have to write the latest news about crime that happened in your city. For example, I would say, now, as home task, you have to write the latest news about crime that happened in your city. That's all for today. Thank you all for today's lesson, and goodbye.